Good day everyone. In this video, I will be going to discuss about the philosophical foundation of education. But first, let us start with understanding the philosophy of education. All teachers have their own philosophies of education, and that is why no two teachers do things the same way, even if they are teaching same subject to the same class. Teachers have personal philosophy that colors the way they teach. It is their beliefs, understanding and experience that shape their philosophy. So therefore, they do things in their own particular way. It may be odd in some ways, or just in line with other teachers are doing, but just because it's different, does not mean it is incorrect. Philosophies of education has been created, and have been supported by lots of proponents of each of those philosophy, and each has a lot to offer to us today. The first of those philosophy is idealism. Ideas are the only true reality, the only thing worth knowing. Its focus is the mind, where all idea came from. The next philosophies of education is realism. Reality exists. Everything that you can see, touch, and feel, are real, and therefore, that is what needs to be studied or learned. Its focus is the body, to experience the reality of the real world. The next philosophy of education is pragmatism. Being pragmatic is being open to change, open to reality of today and working the change to be our benefits. In pragmatism, the universe is dynamic and evolving. When we evolve, we change. And when we change, nothing is permanent. The purpose of thought is action. Getting things done is an important idea in pragmatism. In pragmatism, truth is relative. Pragmatists strongly believe in change. And truth cannot last forever, truth must change. And the truth changes through experience. We are now going to see what are the goals of education under pragmatic school. Growth is the primary goal of education, because change brings about growth. Pragmatists believe that everything needs to grow. Not just the student, but as well as the teachers, institution and the school should be growing. The next goal is education should not be looked upon as merely as schooling and the acquisition of academic subject matter, but as a part of life itself. Pragmatist does not look at classroom as artificial setting. Education is part of the whole big picture of life, and the pragmatist goal is for the child and society to develop. Schools should balance the needs of the society and community on one hand, and the needs of the student on the other hand. Schools under pragmatism fulfill two functions. First is to meet the needs of the society. Second is to fulfill the needs of every student, giving those students their unique requirement for what they want while giving the society what it needs. Another goal of education under pragmatism is self-actualization, helping people direct, control, and guide their personal and social experience. For a pragmatist, the aim of education is to facilitate, help and guide the students succeed, and not just tell and inform. Pragmatic schools should foster habits of thoughts, invention and initiative. Because of the change that they profound, simply learning for learning is not good enough for a pragmatist. There should be inventions, initiative. Something new that came from education. And everyone, teachers and student, should be willing to risk and try different things. Education should promote our true individualism, self-directed learning. Pragmatist does not like the group setting of the classroom, and does not believe in the idea of one size fits all. Individual growth is important or a pragmatist. Education has a moral influence, and should play a vital part in helping us become the kind moral persons who are interested, not only in promoting our growth but also in promoting the growth of others. Pragmatism looks beyond self. The goal of education under pragmatism is develop yourself, and in the process, develop others also. It is not a selfish focus. The focus is beyond self and towards the community and society. A pragmatist to fulfill these goals must believe in change. Because through change, these goals can be achieved. Let us look at the role of teachers under pragmatic philosophy of education. The first one is, teachers must apply democratic methods, meaning, they do not have to do all the talking. The student in the classroom must involve in the class activities that will provide them opportunity to talk constructively. Opportunity are provided by the teachers for the student to be doing constructive talking inside the classroom. Teacher must treat the classroom as a community of learners, a social setting where students did not just learn on their own, but also learn through one another, as they are involved in socializing with others. Teachers encourages, offers suggestions, questions, and help plans and implements course of study. The role of teachers is not only limited to the classroom. If the teacher is involved in planning the course of study, it should happen outside the classroom. The teachers actually plans and promote a questioning mind in the student. Not in the aim that the answer must be given by the teachers. The question posed can be answered by student as well. The teacher is not solely responsible for answering all question. Teachers write the curriculum, and must have a command of several disciplines to create and implement curriculum. The teacher needs to learn more than one discipline. Not just what we are trying to teach, but other areas as well. Because today, in the 21st century, life revolves around multiple disciplines. What happens in other discipline may affect others as well. What students learned in from one subject may be helpful for them in other subjects. Teacher is facilitator and not authoritarian. Simply means that the teacher does not follow a top-down policy. The teacher moves from the front of the classroom, moves around the room to make sure the student are doing what they are supposed to be doing. And when they need help, facilitate them. Not give them the answer, but help the student to get the answer. Teacher's role in pragmatism is facilitator, helper, promoting questions in the classroom, and opening mind, through the process of making the student use their heads and mouth constructively in the classroom, to promote their learning experiences. Let us now look at methods of instruction under the pragmatic approach. Pragmatic teacher promotes various means of teaching, not just one method, because they believe that different students learn in different ways. Formal instruction is abandoned, flexible methods are used. The strict method of just listening, copying what is on the board and answering questions provided is not what a pragmatist would do. Since a pragmatist believes that every student learns differently, one method suits all is not going to work. These teachers do not like the rote memorization, they would rather work with individual students at their own unique pace. Because the aim of these teachers is to reach all of their students on whatever time span they have. Action-oriented education or activity-oriented approach to curriculum. Today in contemporary education we call hands-on learning, or active learning, where students are involved in their learning experience, provided that the teachers are also involved in their teaching experience, for giving them opportunity to be involved and to do things in the classroom other than listening and copying. Learning in groups and individually. Because pragmatic teacher believes that the student needs to learn social skill as well. Putting them in group and giving them opportunity to work in the group and making sure that all members are all actively involved and participating in a group. The curriculum under pragmatic approach is learner-centered. Its focus is the student. It is composed of both process and content. Pragmatists have to provide opportunities by activities so that students learn various process skills along the way. Both process and skill are seen as two sides of the same points in the pragmatic curriculum. All academic and vocational discipline in an integrated and connected way. Pragmatist does not like the curriculum broken down into multiple subjects. They would teach language through literature. Because you can't have literature without language, and if there is no language, there is no literature. Pragmatists see literature and language going together. Problem-centered learning or project method. Put student in group and allows them to do a project. Found out for themselves. And if they don't find the right thing, that's okay. And if after doing all the works of procedures of methods, turns the answer to be negative, that is not the end, but just the beginning of the research. Child interests are to be considered in making the curriculum. What does the child get excited by at school? That is what the pragmatist would look at. One same thing cannot interest 30 different students in a classroom. So what do we do as a pragmatic curriculum developer with students of varied needs, interest, desired and means of accomplishing things? Related educational philosophy to pragmatism is progressivism. Progress. The key here is, how does a student progress? How does one know that the student has gained, learned and improved better today? Because he has received some education, in some classroom, through some teacher. Progressivism measures changes in learning that are obvious, measurable, can be seen, observed, and can be validated. The focus here is, ideas should be tested by active experimentation. Ideas in classroom are in the students' minds, so, explore those ideas and put those on the test. You have to convince them that idea is great, and should not left as an idea. It has to become a piece of information and knowledge over time, when it is tested through, and come out of the student's mind, and be experimented with. Learning rooted in questions of learners and interaction with others. For a progressive teacher, learning through, with, from, and by other students are all equally important. For progressive teacher, questions are the key to learning. When students ask a question, they are thinking. Learning happens when the students are involved in thinking. For progressivist, questions is important because it guarantees that students are involved in thinking, whether it is critical, creative, lateral or outside the box. Any form of thinking is good. Experience and student-centered. Experience teaches us a lot. Experience should be a good teacher. And students' experiences should be taken in consideration in the classroom. Some proponents of progressivism are John Dewey and William Kilpatrick. A lot of their works focuses either on thinking among students, questioning activities among students, or group or cooperative work among students. Working in team, where every team member is responsible for the completion, success of the group project or activity. Let us now move to another philosophy of education. This one is called Reconstructionism. Constructing again. What this philosophy really deals with is reconstructing knowledge for the student. That happens based on the foundation students bring to the classroom. We cannot construct without a foundation. So as the student moves up, from one class to the next, their foundation should become stronger, so that the next level of knowledge can be built easily and conveniently. Critical pedagogy is the analysis of world events. We should bring the world to the classroom, because whatever happens outside the school impacts everyone today. Whatever happens in one part of the world will have a direct impact anywhere else in the world. Controversial issues and diversity to provide vision for better a world and social change. Students came from varied background, so there is diversity in the classroom. Students are not the same. They are different, not only in appearance, but in intellectual ability, basic capabilities and potential on what they can do and can't do, in their values, in their assumption, etc. These are a diverse population. How do you bring unity among these diversity? And how do you tackle controversial issues? Controversial issues are issues that most of us may not want to talk about, because it's not the right thing to do. But just because the issue is controversial, won't we teach it? For example, is the evolution in science, whether you believe in creationism or not, whether you believe in evolutionism or not, your belief is not important. As science teachers, we should teach evolution with the same interest, same desire, same effort and energy, as we teach other topic in science. Even though we strongly believe in creationism. That is an example of controversial issues. And Reconstructionism would bring in all these controversy and diversity, and then reconstruct. Freedom is the focus of Reconstructionism. Freedom comes with choices. And with choices comes with options. And with options, there are chances of decision making. And all these are lifelong skills. In real life, these is what the students will be doing. To experience freedom within limits. That's the key. We can't just say that you're all free as you like. Classroom will be chaos, and it is not going to work. Give them freedom a little at a time, until they can handle it. As the freedom increases, so does the responsibility. Because freedom comes with responsibility. Originators of Reconstructionism are George Counts, Jürgen Habermas, Ivan Illich and Henry Giroux. These people focus on how do we bring issues in the classroom, how do we talk to student, how do we involve students on issues without saying that this is not something we should discuss. Because we can discuss whatever in the classroom. Goal of education under Reconstructionism. There are various goals under this philosophy. The first one is, education is an activity liberating the individual from a chaotic and absurd world. If an individual is educated, he will be liberated, in other words, he will be able to live better. Live in a different manner than the rest of the people without education. With education, we have the ticket to survival. We may not live the comfortable life, but we will survive. Individuals are responsible for consequences, and should be given credit for the creation of concepts like peace, truth, and justice. The focus is the human and ideas. This philosophy takes the students through that process, enabling them to learn the skills of making the right decision, so the consequences in the life will also be right. Good education would encourage individuals to ask such questions: who am I? Where am I going? And why am I here? What is the purpose? What is it that we have to do to meet the purpose? Those are the kind of questions that Reconstructionism would like us to answer. If we know our own purpose, we will be a better human being. The aim is simply to make the world a better place. When you learn the social skills of tolerance, compassion, sharing, empathy, sympathy and those kinds of things, then the world will become a better place. And there's no better way for the student to learn these social skills than in the classroom, through activities that promotes those social skills. Good education is one that emphasizes individuality, through intellectual journey, and help individual to examine the abnormal and corrupted part of life. Life is not just good, there are some bad sides as well. That is the reality. If there is good, then there is some bad too. How does one overcome that bad? So individually, we are made to think. We are made to practice. And we are made to understand why something is right, and why something is good. And then examine. Is it the right thing to do? How to? Why? When we can answer the questions, we are on our way to becoming a better person. Role of teachers under Reconstructionism. Teacher as Reconstructionist emphasizes individual choices. There is no common way of viewing the world. The teacher views the student as individual with choices. There are different ways in which people learn, and want to learn. We should promote those different ways in our classroom. Teacher must take risk. We are just human, making mistakes is okay, and taking risks is also okay. If it works, do it again. If it does not work, do not give up. Reflect and see what went wrong. Expose ourselves to resistant students, and work constantly to enable our student to become wide awake. Due to greater experience and knowledge, it is the teacher's responsibility to develop an educational environment that promotes awareness of the past and present, and of the future possibilities. The teacher has the experience, has the qualification. Teacher should really be the one in control but should not dominate what happened in the classroom. Teacher helps students become sensitive to human possibility, and understand that they themselves are both fully determined by the past. Teachers are the product of the past, students are in the present and the future. The future for the student will come from the human possibility. What all is this generation going to do to take them where they would like to be? Methods of instruction and Reconstructionism approach to education. The first important thing is stressing individual freedom, because no two students are the same, all students are different. Empowering students to make choices about what and how they will learn. Give them options of making decisions for themselves. Buber has the I-thou approach, where students and teachers learn cooperatively from each other in a non-traditional, non-threatening friendship. In other words, teacher is also a student. We learn from our student as our student learn from us. Educational method which help in rediscovering the excitement of learning and opening up a whole new world of possibilities for students. The teacher has to rediscover the excitement and the joy of teaching and learning, and then transfer that to the student. And last, student become more articulate and capable of comprehension and self-expression with the help of teacher's approach. If you allow the student to talk and interact with you, comprehension and understanding become better. Curriculum and Reconstructionism approach stresses arts and literature, with little emphasis on math and science. The humanities are considered, because they deal with human existence. Through humanities, try to awaken modern individuals to the danger of being swallowed up by the megalopolis and runaway technology. Do not have a defined rules about what the curriculum should comprise. Believe that the student in situation making a choice should be the deciding factor. The rule is simple: the student is in charge of his learning situation. Related educational philosophy to Reconstructionism is existentialism. Exist. It is there. That's the basis of Reconstructionism. What exists is the foundation. On that, you construct. Reality is subjective within the individual. Instead of telling, let the student understand for themselves. Student will not learn what values is, if we are just going to tell them that these are values. They will learn when they see others in society live those values. Individual rather than external standards. As teachers, we cannot set standard for individual. Standards have to be internalized, and have to be what students want for themselves. However, in many cases it is not really what the student wants, it is really what the student is capable of. If the student's capability is 70%, he might kill himself to get towards 90%. If they can't, it's okay. Getting low grade is okay, if that is their best work. Let the student decide. The key proponent of existentialism are Sartre and Kierkegaard. They both believe in the existing of the student and their potential. It is what the student have, and that is what they can work with. And that is all. I hope you learned something today. I'm Sharalyn Dela Cerna, from BSIEICT2A. Thank you so much for watching. In this AVP, I only included those I think is important, but if you want to learn more about the philosophical foundation of education, try to visit this link here.